Good morning, my YouTube family. I'd like to discuss with you today what it's like to be an HVAC technician, but I've had people ask me about getting into the trades, no matter what trade it is, but I'm talking about HVAC today. That's what I do, been doing it for 25 years. I started off, let me just tell you a little bit about my experience. I started off, my father was in the trade, he was in the HVAC trade. He did a lot of commercial, a lot of gas and refrigeration, air conditioning, and heating. He had his own sheet metal shop. He did that for 10 years of from 6 to 16. When I was 6 to 16, I just remember that time. I didn't see him much. So that's a different story. So anyway, I worked with him a little bit, and he wanted me to get into the trade. I got into the trade because my father laid it out there, just said, get a trade, learn the trade, learn the trade. That's where I got that from, my father, learn the trade. So I kicked against it for many years as a teenager because he wanted me to get into it when I was like 14, 15, and I didn't want to do that. I was reading the refrigeration book. But eventually, about 18 years old, I was going through things in my life. I was working at Wendy's, and I said, Dad, you know, I didn't even complete high school. And I was working at Wendy's. I had things to take care of, so I had to make money. I don't want to get into that. That's another topic. Anyhow, he got me a job working at a company. At that time, he was working for a commercial company, and he got me a job there as a helper. And that's where I got my foot really into the door. And that's where I began, and it was industrial stuff. And then I went from that company, kind of moved around, went from company to company. I did kind of move around a bit because I was trying to, I was trying to get somewhere, get something. And I kind of had him, you know, in the background saying, do this, do that. And I kind of listened to him, and I kind of went, I don't know, I eventually found my way, did a lot of industrial as a helper, a lot of Hvac stuff, just a lot of heating system installations, and ended up working my way into residential and got my master oil license eventually. And around that time I was doing a lot of commercial also, so I was working for other companies doing commercial, and so that's where I got into HVAC. So in my early 20s, basically early 20s, worked for a few commercial companies, worked for a bunch of residential companies, and that's where I got all my licenses, my gas license and my AC license, my EPA, and my oil burner license. So that's because I went from one company to another company, and I wasn't ever happy at a company. That's probably why I work for myself now, and that's been going on for 12, 13 years. But I really enjoyed the commercial work. So that always stuck with me. I love package units. I love rooftops. Yeah, wintertime, that sucks. So that's one thing about commercial. If you're doing HVAC, package units, and RTUs, is that you're gonna be outside, exposed to the elements pretty much 24/7. That's where residential is nice because you're in basements a lot. So when it's cold out, you're still in a warm basement. When it's hot out, you're in a cold basement, but you live your life in basements. And I don't really want to live my life in basements anymore. So that's another story. But, so where we're at now is, yeah, I got into the trade through my father and basically just continued in the trade and worked my way up to where eventually I was able to say, hey, I'm ready to go on my own. And I was able to do that, and I did that after all those years being in the trade, and started my own business and been doing that for 12 years, maybe almost 13 this December. And you know, I like it. I had a child. I had 2 kids at the time. I had one that was just born, and the reason why I said I need to start my own company was because the company I was working for at the time had me all over the state. It had me in other states. My wife was about to give birth. She was ready to pop, and I could not predict, and I could not be sure when I would be around or be home, and I didn't know if that would even happen. I'd get a phone call probably, and I'd be up 4 hours away. So we ended up actually having to induce the child over it, and I just said, that's enough, I'm done, just so that we could plan, because she was about ready to go anyway. So they just made it happen so I could be there for it, and that just was frustrating, but it worked out. But the point is that I decided after that, I said, I'm going to start my own company. Now, I don't want to get on to religious things, but I am a Christian, and I do like my faith. I love my Lord, and I do like to share my faith. But the fact is, that ain't the point here. The point is that I do believe the man upstairs had a purpose, had a higher calling for me, and this business was his plan, because my kids are able to be in private school. And without this business, my wife don't work. Without this business, all 3 kids would not be able to be in that private school and have the life and live the life that we live today. So to me, I'm grateful, because I don't care what you think. The world's messed up. Anyway, so yeah, so 12 years later, 13 years later, here I am running my own company. I've done a lot of residential, built my company on residential, pretty much within about a 45-minute radius from home. And I started off in one town, built it for 5 years there, but then we moved away about 45 minutes. So I kind of had to give up all my work over there, which was a lot of lakes, a lot of camps, a lot of AC. So that hurt me a little bit on the AC side. But in Maine, where we live, there's a ton of oil, ton of hydronics, and being a master oil burner tech, I mean, that was easy to, you know, get back in over where we live now and build a business in that area. And that area is nicer because it's near highways, there's more towns, there's more population, supply houses are local. So everything like that turned out really well. But I have definitely been pushing to get back more into commercial, and I've been doing that slowly, little by little. I will keep my residential clients, but it will not be my only thing, because I need a break away from homeowners. And I love you homeowners, I love all my clients, but it's just I sometimes need a break away. There's a freedom feeling when you're working up on a rooftop, and I enjoy that, and I enjoy commercial work. So you just have to make sure you make it work out to where you do get paid. I don't like to wait for my money. I get paid daily. I don't bill out. So worst case scenario, there's times I have to wait 30 days, but that's okay. I can deal with that. But so that's my story. I don't know if that was good or not, but I definitely love the HVAC trade. There's nothing else I would want to do. Like I said, my father got me into the trade. The trade has been a blessing. The trade has such job security for me. Doing maintenances is repetitive and boring. I love service calls, troubleshooting. You make good money in that. At least I do. And then installs, I make good money at that. Installs are hard by yourself, so you always have to have somebody to bring in, and I do that. I have my subcontractors. I use my father a lot still. He has his own, he still has his own, he's worked for himself. So he was actually self-employed when I became self-employed, because he went back and started his own other business. And I had a few buddies in the trade that had their own businesses that worked at companies I worked at before, and they ended up starting their own business. So I had all these people that were self-employed at the time that I just decided to jump ship and start my own company. Pretty much spent all that Christmas money to start this company. And that was okay. It ended up working out, ended up paying us back. It was good. I started out with a little Ford Ranger, got ripped off. The thing had more issues, wouldn't pass an inspection after that one expired. I don't know how he got an inspection sticker to begin with. I think it was illegal. And ended up just ditching that and bought a van, and that worked out good. So my father has been a big blessing in my company. My father has been a big blessing in my life, and my wife has too. My wife has definitely been behind me in all this, and I've had a lot of support through family and friends and my church and my God and all that stuff. So things have been working out really well. We are blessed. But the HVAC trade is a great trade. It is stressful at times. It is hard sometimes. I work long hours. My body aches. I've never hurt myself so much. But then again, my wife says I hurt myself more off the job than I do on the job. But I don't know. Maybe that's true. But you got to be careful. You got to be smart. You got to work smart. And you have to know how to have good customer service skills. You have to. You have to know how to deal with customers if you're dealing with residential. You have to know how to fix things. You have to be experienced. You have to have enough experience. And that's where I'm at now. This is becoming a very mixed video about a lot of different things, and I do apologize, but I'm just trying to lay it out for you. So I'm going to pause it right here. If there's any other questions, if there's things I missed, but that's pretty much about me and about the HVAC trade. I was trying not to get into about the whole self-employed thing, but I definitely did. I told you my story. But there that is, guys. Hey, please remember to like and subscribe. I appreciate you tuning in, and I appreciate you being here. And my goal as a YouTuber is to be able to help guys like you, people like you, women like you, teenagers, you know, anybody that's looking to get into the trade, that wants experience, that wants to see things happen, see what it's like daily, and to be able to experience the HVAC trade in a different way by seeing it on TV. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there doing it, and I'm inspired by their videos too. So I want to make some of my own. But thank you for tuning in. Gabe Martin, Martin Heating and Cooling. Learn the trade. Learn the trade.